There we go. And
we're
live.
Here we go.
So we will wait for a moment for people to come and join us. Everyone's usually pretty prompt these days. Got the 7 o'clock down to a fine art.
They certainly have. Well, maybe nobody will join us this evening. That would be a terrible thing. Hillary, you could be the only one. You and the dog.
Well, it is bang on 7 in fairness, and it
is just 7 o'clock. Tick tock, and they have to wait. Aha! Here we go. We have liftoff.
We have, and it's just stopped raining, so hopefully people are flooding in from trying to light their barbecues and decide.
Hi, everybody!
Sit down and have a glass anyway. Happy Thursday, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. Although we can't see you, obviously, we can hear from you though. So don't be shy. Send in your messages of cheer and celebration and
just a
anything
wave.
You want to know, really.
Just a wave is always good.
Yeah. Or a little photo of your lovely canapes with the wine. That's always good fun.
Indeed.
Evening, everybody. Hello, George. Thank you very much for the plants, George. We haven't forgotten.
Hi, Nettie, Luke, and Si. Hello, Alice. Hi, Jane. So
here they come. Stopping in.
1 minute past, everyone. Where have you been?
Fantastic. Excellent.
Hi, Jane and Felicity.
Well, here we are again, Thursday evening, and we're talking about
back to basics, really. House wine,
les vins de maison.
Yeah, so we've hopefully you guys have as well, or if not, it doesn't matter. You know, you can drink along with whatever you please. Why not? 2 why nots?
Why not?
Our house wines.
Indeed.
So, in fact, we've recently brought these in, very recently, since about, let's say the end of March, because as the lockdown landed, we thought we should really, for people who can't get to the supermarkets, who don't normally buy their wine online, we should really look to get a few more wines at a cheaper end of the scale. Let's say entry level is the delicate way of putting it in the trade, right?
Yeah.
So these are really a result of trying to open up buying wine online from artisan wine merchants to people who aren't used to spending over £10 a bottle. Basically.
Yeah, so introducing people to online wine from the 23rd of March 2020. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
Just in the nick.
Hi, everybody. Anybody who doesn't know us, I'm Pam. This is Jude.
Hi.
And this is the lovely Finn. We're joined this evening on telephone by Hillary. Hello, Hillary.
Hi.
And we are Hannibal Brown Wines, delivering across the nation. Every day,
pretty much every day. Seems like
we're a little bit tired this evening, so forgive us if we're a bit slow. No, it's not because we've been drinking; we're just a bit slow.
No excuses on a Thursday. So first of all, cheers everybody.
Cheers all. Cheers all.
So all about affordable wines at the affordable end of the scale, and how on earth do you decide where and what to buy? Because it's a minefield. Because we'll talk a bit more about bulk wine a little bit later on, but. Bulk, mass-produced, mass-shipped wine makes up for 40% of the market. And we're not actually talking about these sorts of wines. We're talking even lower down the scale. So it's a big part of the market is your £5-7 a bottle wines.
Absolutely.
So it's a pretty important part of the wine industry and keeps the whole thing moving, right?
But it's so important. It is so important. Why is it important? Why is it important?
Bulk wine?
Well, no, your house wine.
Oh, right. Yes, sorry, house wine.
Because we stake our reputation on our house wine.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, well, I'd like to say that's what everybody should do, but sadly, not all people do, particularly in the restaurant environment and also the pubs. House wine is almost like, as you said, entry level. So there's a big sort of definition difference between house, which is what you say, we're proud of that.
This is my house,
And we've got to start somewhere, so we'll stick on the cheapest possible wine that we can possibly find. How do you do it?
And the vast majority of people will buy it because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
But we can't hold that against anyone. The most important thing for us is that our wines at the beginning of the range, for example, these guys, the 2 why nots, the wines at the beginning of the range are good. And we love these wines. The white you've got is a Verdejo from Spain. And then the red is a Tempranillo Shiraz Merlot blend, or probably Syrah Merlot, in fact. Same grape, but European.
And these literally arrived on the day that we went into lockdown, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it was actually, funny times, actually, 3.5 months ago. Can we even remember what that was like? It's weird.
Cold down.
But certainly we recognized that actually, wine wasn't as freely available. And so we, as Jude said, we introduced a few more sort of wines at a lower level, and we just fell upon these two and thought, my God, these are better. These are better than just stipulated entry level, and we have no intention of getting rid of them at the end of, well, are we at the end of a lockdown or not?
Not yet, I don't think.
No,
not yet. We're still here, and people are still watching at home, which means we must be locked down.
Yeah. So those of you who have got it, I hope it's nice and chilled. Very, very important for your house wine to be chilled at all times. It's got to be refreshing. So it's got to be bright, lively, and it's got to have a really good acidity. And this is a problem with a lot of house wines or entry-level wines, that they may not be made as well as they could be, and almost a bit of a byproduct of maybe something that went wrong, but still an awful lot of wine, and therefore they have to bottle it and just try and sell it, make a quick buck. By comparison to producers who are actually going out of their way to make something that is pretty exceptional for the price that you're paying.
Yeah, exactly.
Because bear in mind, when we're talking about these cheaper end wines, there's an awful lot of packaging. Isn't there? And it makes up so much of the total value of what you're getting. And I think Jude said this many times, actually, the value of the wine, or the wine element itself, represents,
well, in your £5 bottle of wine, it's 30p's worth.
Yeah.
And then it's almost exponential as you go up the price scale of the bottles of wine, because you can suddenly fit more wine in the bottle because every penny more that you're spending, you've already paid for the packaging and the labeling.
Yeah.
So that's all wine. So the more you can spend, the better, to a point.
Yeah.
But not to poo-poo the beginning end of the scale, because anybody's cheapest wine as a wine company should be something that they'll be happy to drink at home on a day-to-day basis,
which is what we're doing.
Which we do. So there we go.
So this is a Why Not Verdeco. It's $7.99. Another one of my very favourite house wines, if you want. I'm not going to call it entry level, but one of my favourite, sort of less expensive, is Blockhead. Blockhead Chenin, which I think is around about $9.99 a 10 or something around there. But again, because it's like you stake your reputation on these wines, and we drink those inexpensive wines, Blockhead. We drink them all the time because they're so. And
they're a South African duo of Chenin Blanc for the white and red as a Shiraz again. So really fab. I just want to quickly see if people have got their canapes.
Oh yeah.
So for the Verdeco, I suggested the roasted tomato bruschetta with pesto and a bit of mozzarella or something similar if you happen to have it or were able to get it, which I think is a really nice combination with this wine, because it's got a bit of zip and a bit of acidity, as do the tomatoes, but not too much, so you don't want to overpower it with too much acid in your food.
No, and the roasting actually sort of it mutes the acidity in the tomatoes, particularly this time of the year, because a lot of the tomatoes still aren't quite ripe. They're still a bit sort of tougher on the outside. But so roasting them sort of mutes the I believe, dulls the acidity. In fact, we tasted them. We did try them at a tasting on Tuesday evening that we were doing for Simon Gilmore and Luke Portnow, Simon's birthday.
And Jane and Felicity. In fact, happy birthday again, Simon.
A bit of another happy birthday to Simon. Those roasted tomatoes with Riesling also went very well.
So the acidity with the acidity in the wine, brilliant.
Yeah.
Alice has got her canapes ready.
Well done. Well done.
Luke and Simon, they've got the bruschetta, which is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Well, remember, taste the wine, eat the food, taste the wine.
Yeah.
Wine, food, wine. Very important.
So we've got a question for you, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Stand to attention. Are you ready?
Stop crunching on your bruschetta and listen in. So we're talking about relatively large production of wine to get the price down. There's no question in that. So here's your starter for 10. Which country in the world, must have 1,000 of these questions, which country in the world has the largest area under wine grapevine, so the largest vineyard planting for wine production?
Yeah, we'd like to know. Have a little think about
that.
Over
answers on your comments.
Yeah.
And whilst you think about that, should we talk about where you can look to get good quality at a more value end of the... We're really delicately skirting around the word cheap because cheap is so awful. But what I'm saying is, what's a good tip for perhaps countries of origin that you can look to for wines at the cheaper end of the scale?
Yeah. Well, there are some kind of like simple basics actually. Well, there's a bit of a dichotomy, a little bit of a dilemma between what we call wines that are bottled at the winery, for example, why not, where a lot less intervention. The wine has literally come out of the tank and it's gone into a bottle and it's shipped in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Now that whole process is fantastic. It's clean. It's got minimal intervention, minimal sulfite additions, this, that, and the other. However, shipping in bottles is very expensive. So then along come the big bulk boys.
We've got a good picture.
Let's show you how 40% of the whole of the wine world moves around the world.
And in the meantime, keep your answers coming. It's good stuff, guys. And in the meantime, I'd like to know what everyone thinks about bag-in-box wine, because you're about to see the ultimate bag-in-box, or bib, as it's known in France.
So let's have a little look
so this
at
is how your wine is bulk shipped. So for the purpose of Hilary, who's phoning in, what we've got here is a 40-foot container, like a shipping container, inside with a big bladder, which is essentially filled with wine when it's bulk shipped.
Yep. So they are
very delicate.
No, they are. So what happens here is the truck pitches up at the winery, let's say, for example, in Spain, and he connects his truck to the nearest tank, and they basically pump all the wine into one of these great huge balloons that you're seeing inside this container. Now that balloon, it's called a flexi tank, and it holds 24,000 liters. It's a standard. Yeah, it's an awful lot of wine.
It's a lot of wine. It's not one for the kitchen cupboard.
But just bear in mind again, just to reiterate, 40% of world wine is being shipped around in these things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a bit brash, and it does mean a bit more intervention. So before the wine is pumped into this flexi tank, this great big bladder, it has to have an additional SO2 sulfite addition. It then goes on its merry way and it gets on its ship. And bear in mind that when it gets on the ship, you pay a premium not to have your container sitting next to the funnel, because the funnel is the hottest place and you don't want your wine to be sitting next to heat. So you pay a premium.
Is that if it's going on a steamship?
Yeah. They refer to it as slow steam and fast steam still. The next thing is, if you put it on a slow steam, which is a slower ship, it uses less energy, but it takes longer, but ultimately it keeps the price down. If you put it on a fast steam, those engines are motoring a little bit quicker and they're churning out an awful lot of nasties into pollutants, get through a lot of diesel, so a little bit more expensive. And then when that wine arrives in the UK or Antwerp or some sort of, European bottling line, say, for example, before it's bottled, it has another addition of sulfites. It goes through another filtration. It kind of adds cost, but it keeps that wine clean and
safe. I guess
safe.
It means it won't oxidize. It means it won't turn to vinegar or
exactly
champagne unintentionally.
And then it's bottled here in much cheaper bottles, so it's much sort of lighter glass. So the bottom line is that shipping by bulk in these 24,000 liters, whilst there is expense, it's a hell of a lot cheaper and more efficient than bottling at the winery,
and arguably
environmentally, glass is incredibly heavy.
So environmentally, it's more sound as well, which leaves you into a bit of a
dilemma
of
because the wine's been, it's been tapped. People have been like doing a bit of this and a bit of that,
been
and
pumped out of the tank into a bag, and then out of the bag into the bottling line. Added sulfites.
But technology is today what it is, and actually, arguably, those wines are just as clean, if not cleaner, than when they left the winery, but they will have been filtered. They will have been filtered, and they will have had additional sulfites.
And the key to identifying if a wine has been shipped in this way is basically on every bottle of wine. If you have a look, if you've got one in front of you, I presume most people have, it will say produced and bottled at or in, and if it says the winery or the town, then that's where it's been bottled. It has to say where it's been bottled. But if it says bottled in and a big long 40 character code, then the likelihood is it's gone to a big shipping line, bottling line, sorry, somewhere
anywhere.
Nearest destination.
Poland, Germany, the UK.
Could
Holland.
be anywhere. And then it could be chucked on a truck in its bottles and transported further. So if you want to have wines that have less sulfites added because of their journey, look for where they're bottled. And if they're bottled where they're produced, it's a really good start.
Yeah.
Some wines you could not transport in glass for the price that you pay in the supermarket. It'd be £5-6.
Which is why all the big branded wines that you see in the supermarkets are all bulk shipped. Should we have a little look at a big plant?
Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, let's just go back quickly.
Photo.
Just going back to this because I'm really enjoying a couple of the comments in the. Let me just sort that out. A couple of the comments for this big bag and box. Alice was pointing out that actually, once used, it's good for a whole mattress and not just your travel pillow, which I think is ingenious. Once you've got through the 24,000 litres of wine, you can have a lie down on your mattress. And then Russell has definitely got his eye on one for Christmas, which I think is quite good. And then just going back to the question at hand, which was which country is the biggest planting of grapevines in the world, and it is Spain. Actually, Luke has said he thinks we mentioned it on Tuesday at their tasting. So
people have been listening.
But yeah, Spain has definitely got the biggest area under vine. We know they're the third biggest producer in the world.
But there is, I suppose, we could just follow on with this question instantly.
So second place. So Spain have pipped Italy. So Italy, we know, are a massive producer of wine, full stop, the biggest in the world. Spain have got more vines, but maybe the volume isn't quite the same. They're very, very dry. And a lot of their big stuff is planted in the center, which is desert-like. Right? So Italy produce a greater volume. But thinking of bulk wine and think about what, those awful bottles of wine you've had where you thought, oh gosh, that's really cheap. Why did I have that? Which wine region within Italy do you think produces the most bulk wine? Okay, so we're not talking about, your Chiantis and your fancy ends. We're talking bulk wine. Which area in Italy?
There is a bulk capital of Italy. We'd like to know where it is. Should we have a little look at the big picture?
Oh yes, sorry. Here we go.
So again, just bear in mind, 40% of all wine is shipped in containers and bottled at destination.
And this is this one that we're talking. This is to put it into perspective. I'm sure you've all heard of Gallo.
Have you heard of Gallo? I hope you have. Hillary, have you heard of Gallo?
Sorry about the quality of my picture. This is basically like a Google Earth image of the Gallo winery.
Taken from the moon.
And as you can see, it is vast. Each one of the tanks will be as tall as a house.
If not
so. In Gallo, just to give you an idea of production volume, produce 1 billion bottles of wine a year.
Okay, and remember the UK. So let's say England and a little bit in Wales and a tiny amount in Scotland, and we still don't know whether there's anything in Ireland. We have to find out that question.
There will be
16 million bottles. So UK producing 16 million bottles, and what did you say? Gallo producing 1 billion.
Just the one producer. They are
that's
vast.
just one winery. It is huge. It is huge.
France produced 7 to 8 billion bottles. So it still doesn't, it's still a seventh of what the whole of France produces. But it puts it into perspective when you compare it to actually smaller countries. It's really massive.
So just on that though, I mean, there is a reason for these because the demand is there. That is the point. If we didn't have these huge plants and massive great vineyards where they're, maximizing the amount of fruit on the vines, then there just wouldn't be enough wine in the supermarkets. There just wouldn't be enough wine to go around.
And we've got to remember this figure that I've read a few years ago now, but it's probably still about right. It's only around about 8 in 1,000 bottles of wine bought in this country, I should say. Only 8 in 1,000 are actually over the £10 mark. So that's less than 1%.
So come on, everybody, spend a bit more money on your wine.
No, but so there is that 99.2% needs to be supplied from somewhere. So this is where the big boys come into play. And we can't put in too much because Pam's worked for some
absolutely, I have, and I mean, if you take it back a stage, take it away from the winery and just go into the vineyards. I mean, the vineyards are incredible because by comparison, you've got, imagine your small little producer who's sort of like just focused on quality. And then you've got the big guys. So you've got the supermarket buyers going in and going, Mr. Gallo, you need to produce more wine for us. We need more wine. What are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And so they are training their vines to actually generate more yield. And of course, I always talk about this, more yield, what you're going to do. It's the same with your tomatoes, more tomatoes. What happens? You dilute the quality. Mm-hmm. So you're getting volume and volume and volume and volume. And at the end of the day, you know, that is where the demand is. But you're not actually necessarily getting the best quality. Mm-hmm. Quality comes from sort of, you know, pruning and training and sort of, you know, triaging and picking the best grapes as opposed to just picking all of them. Because
there are tricks that they're not, if they really need the volume, you can't add water.
Nope.
So they need the volume of liquid, which often means what you're sacrificing is the character really and the flavors within the wine. But there is certainly a bit of jiggery-pokery, as we've talked about before, that can be done to make up for that. So if, for example, the grapes have just not got much acidity because they've just been mass-produced and it's churned out, then just add a bit of acidity, right?
Yeah.
Just pop a bit of acidity, a bit of acid in.
Yeah.
If there's not enough ripeness,
put a bit of grape must in it.
And grape must is grape juice, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can.
Then you run the risk of additional alcoholic fermentation, but that's okay because you might not have enough alcohol in the first instance.
Exactly. So there's all sorts of ways of making up for it. It's not very natural, not very appealing, and you don't end up with a wine that really reflects where it's from and the year that it was grown, etc.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a question here. Oh, and hi, Kerry has joined us. Kerry says Gallo was super popular when she was at Threshers. I bet it's still Actually, Threshers aren't around anymore, are they?
You know, Gallo, we're talking about Gallo at the lower end, but actually Gallo at the higher end. And when I used to be the buyer at Harrods, we used to sell a lot of Gallo wine, but Gallo at the very, very top end, and they are phenomenally good wines.
Different kettle of fish altogether.
Different kettle of fish. That's not what we're here to talk about this evening.
No. Simon's got a question here. So he's very delicately put this. So if it's too late to get a Hannibal Brown delivery and you have to go to the supermarket, which obviously very rarely happens, to pick up a sub £10 wine, what do you think are the most reliable bets? And actually, that's a good question. And I was sort of trying to eke that out for you because there's a few countries that you can go to because it's cheaper for them to produce the wine.
Yeah.
So which would be your first? What would you look for a country?
Oh, I look for two countries. Well, I've got a wine in my head, in actual fact, and it's a really old friend of mine, and I'm really pleased that this guy who produces wine in France, and he has managed to retain his hold on the shelves in the co-op for 20 years. And still, those wines are phenomenal. And I shouldn't tell you what they are.
Oh, I think you're allowed to. We're here to provide a service.
There is a very, very good winery, and it's called Les Jamelles, Jamelles, in the co-op. Their white wines and their red wines are always consistent. They're really well made, and they're the only supermarket wines that I will allow any of you to go and buy.
So where are they from?
Do you know what? I can't remember exactly where he is. He's in the south. He's in the Languedoc.
But he's French, exactly where. Basically, is what he's saying.
They're French wines, and they're just really, really well made, really well structured, and reliable. And that's what you want. Ask me where not to go, and Tesco Finest. What is Tesco Finest all about? Tesco Worst.
And also countries like, hi Evelyn, by the way, and Kerry said she likes the Ned wines. Although, do they come in sub £10? I don't know. I've not looked for a while.
Now, this is when it begins. This is when it gets really interesting, though, because Ned from New Zealand. Well, already New Zealand is an awful long way away.
So your flight ticket or your ferry ticket on that bottle is high.
Yeah, your production costs are very high because the labour cost is very high. Hello, Kate McLeod. I would say, always Chile, because resource is available. It's not expensive to produce. They have a fantastic climate, which basically means that they could almost call themselves organic because they really don't have to go into the vineyard and do any spraying because they've got such a fantastic climate. They don't get rot. There's consistency year on year. So you kind of you get more sort of bang for your buck in a bottle of cheaper end Chilean wine than I think pretty much most countries.
And I would say one that I would always avoid at the cheaper end of the scale would be Australia. But interestingly, I mean, I've not, at the cheaper end of the scale, I think you get better quality at that price point from other countries is the nice way to put it. But, a few years ago, 80% of Australia's bulk wine was shipped to this country. Yeah. So I'm in the vast minority.
Yeah.
I think I can say we on that one.
Yeah.
So Spain has to be said.
Spain what?
As a country to get quality at a lower price, obviously, because we're drinking 2 wines from Spain, which is very important.
And it's actually really interesting how many Spanish wines you're now seeing on the market. More and more and more coming through. Remember that Spain is, the 3rd biggest wine producer in the world. Very close to France and Italy. And Spain's costs are relatively cheaper than France and Italy, so again they can produce, and they've got they've got the volume as well. They've got the climate. They don't get too much rot in the middle of La Mancha because it's so flipping hot.
Yeah, maybe not many grapes either, but
but they can produce as we can see
decent quality. But quality. Because they do produce so much, you also get an awful lot of the rubbish end as well.
Yeah,
which amusingly, a lot of it is exported to France.
Yeah, I have to say, going back to that question though about where in the world was my big bugbear would be the US. The US,
okay. As a don't go
at
there.
House level or at entry level, really doesn't do anything for me. You've seen the likes of Gallo. There are very, very good wineries, and Gallo is a good winery, but there's an awful lot of wineries who cut corners where they can. I just think, if you're going to look at American wine, look at the top end. They are fabulous.
Then they're world leading.
They are world leading, but at the lower end, there's a lot of competition out there.
Just want to go there, but I agree with you. I actually would put Chile at the top of my list, possibly.
Yeah.
However, in recent years, we have come across some really good Spanish and cheaper wines, and the other 2 of them, we've got a couple of wines called Morenito. The white is a Macabeo, and the red is a Grenache. And they're also 2 really fantastic under £9 bottles of wine. So well worth a go. Obviously, if you can have enough time to order and it's not an absolute emergency.
Can we talk about PG?
Oh yes, okay.
PG, yeah. Pamela Gregory. Also,
did we ask a question which we haven't got the answer to first?
Oh yeah, let's get the answer.
So
did anybody give us an answer?
We did. I think we got one answer, which was the correct one, which is really annoying.
Oh.
So sorry, Simon. I think that might have been you or Luke. So the question was, which wine region within Italy is that sort of the capital for bulk wine production? And indeed, and I think this is sort of quite surprising, it is Sicily. So I would automatically think up in the north where they churn out
Pinot Grigio,
which is what Pam was about to talk about. So I thought we should give the answer out. But it's not there, interestingly.
No, I mean, Sicily does produce a phenomenal amount of wine, but also they produce an awful lot of grapes, table grapes. Huge amount of table grapes. So, for a not particularly huge island,
with a big volcano on it.
With a big volcano on it. It's saturated. If you even know one about volcanoes, go onto YouTube and have a look at our volcanic wine tasting. I'll tell you all about volcanoes. But Pinot Grigio. So this is one that if you go towards Pinot Grigio, be prepared to get ripped off. Ooh. Yes. And we could just touch on maybe sort of the restaurants now and, how they choose their house wine and how they plan or how they position, because an awful lot of thought goes into how that wine list on a restaurant menu is, how those wines are sort of positioned.
So Pinot Grigio is still a massively popular wine choice within the on-trade or the restaurant trade.
It is. Although, these days rosé is catching up, but that's another. We're not talking about rosé.
No, done that.
But Pinot Grigio, if a wine buyer in a restaurant has done his job properly, he will position Pinot Grigio quite low down the list with a hefty price on it. And I'm now seeing, in recent months, Pinot Grigios out there that are way overpriced, and it's because they know that people I remember my dad used to go, oh, let's just have a bottle of Pinot Grigio because it's easy. It's simple. You know what you're going to get.
It's
it doesn't
dry.
take any thought. It's a crowd pleaser. It doesn't do anything. But my God, you pay a premium for it. And the restaurateurs know this. So my advice, don't buy Pinot Grigio in a restaurant.
And
don't even buy Pinot Grigio anywhere.
And you've got quite a good second bit of advice about where clever restaurateurs position different wines on their wine list, because they know that people don't always like to appear as a cheapskate.
It's a really funny one, actually, because they know, because this has been analysed many times, that, you know, people go into a restaurant, they don't want to be seen to buy the cheapest wine or maybe the house wine, because I don't know why, but anyway, it is stigma, and yet this house thing should be all about, you know, they should be. That's the one that you should put your confidence in. But a lot of restaurateurs try to optimize the profit margin on the second most expensive bottle of wine on the list. So the second most expensive, it may be only 25 pence more expensive on the wine list, and customers go, oh, I'll have that one because a little bit more expensive. They're ripping off. They're taking more profit out of that second one than the first one.
So it's a careful positioning of possibly a cheaper wine. Now, this is not going for everybody, but, you know, it's a bit of a rule of thumb for if you want to bulk up your profit from your bottles in the restaurant. Don't go for the second one. Maybe go third or first.
It's a difficult one. I mean, restaurant wines in restaurants is colossally expensive, and largely because the profit margin on the wine side is actually shoring up the food margin. That's what's happening. So in restaurants, they're trying to make sort of, you know, anything between 70 and 80% gross profit on just the wine, because they can't make that sort of profit on the food element. And that's why, you know, I mean, wine in restaurants is so expensive now. It's kind of worth looking out for restaurants now. And we're even contacting restaurants and saying, can we get, you know, do you do corkage? And then come and buy your wine off Hannibal Brown and take a lovely bottle of
Bring your own.
wine.
We have,
and you can have 3 bottles for the same price.
We have unashamedly in a few places done a BYO deal and taken maybe wine that would retail at £16-17. So in a restaurant, you're looking at,
do you know,
50 quid for that.
Pretty much anybody who's anybody in the wine industry does that. So don't feel ashamed of doing it.
As long as you give a little glug to the restaurant owner, then you can usually get by. They'll take one when they decant it anyway.
It's still fair to say, though, that around about 80% of wine that's sold in restaurants is the house wine. So again, you know, if restaurants aren't paying attention to the quality of their house wine, then they're not doing themselves any favors. And we had one very, very bad experience in a restaurant where the food was fabulous. The food was absolutely spot on. Couldn't have faulted it, and the wine was appalling.
And we went beyond third up. Actually,
we did,
which is annoying because actually we tend to go for house.
It kind of ruined it. It really ruined it.
And on that positive note, let's move on to the red. So Tim just said they prefer the red. Fair enough. I like the white. It's easy drinking on its own, or with your little.
What do you think, Finn? What do you think, Finn?
He just wants a biscuit.
He just have a bicky.
Okay, so Tempranillo.
Look at the colour. Look at the colour.
Yeah.
Now that colour, anybody who's got this wine, that colour you're seeing is the Tempranillo.
So a big, deep.
Yeah.
And it's a big fruity wine. So you've got your Merlot and your Syrah. The Merlot's nice and soft.
Yeah.
I suppose a bit of pepperiness from the Syrah. So it's a really nice blend.
Yeah.
Really easy going. And I managed to quickly get my little cheesy potatoes. I put a bit of chorizo on. They're not going to look very good in the camera. I've literally had to rush them out. So have your cheesy potato and see how it transforms the wine, because I think these go really nicely. They're a good nibble with anything.
Yeah. So actually, on that point, we just have to do a quick shout out for Jude's phenomenal canopies over the last few months, because I don't eat potatoes. And I love these. This is possibly the first potato I've eaten in whole ever. May I have one?
Yeah. Now these ones aren't quite as good as the ones the other day, because they could have done with a little bit longer.
Potato.
Yeah. Why don't you have one of the ones that's just finishing off?
Okay. I would
hate to just ruin that whole thing with you pulling it out of your mouth and
and just on that point, just a little shout out that this Sunday What are we doing this Sunday?
Portugal.
We're doing Portugal. We're doing Don't Mind If We Do.
Don't mind if you do,
Don't
yeah.
mind if we do. And this Sunday coming is going to be the last of our summer wines. But pay attention to the summer, because last of the Sunday.
Last of the summer Sundays.
Last of the summer Sundays.
We'll be still coming back on Tuesdays.
Yeah, we're going to give everybody a little summer weekend off, so you don't have to tune into us on a Sunday evening anymore, but you do have to tune into us on a Thursday evening at 7 o'clock each week,
and obviously Sunday coming. This Sunday.
So for the remainder of July and August, we will not be broadcasting on a Sunday. We may well be back on a Sunday in the autumn.
Yeah,
come
maybe
the rain,
not forever,
come
but
the rain.
It's just to give everyone their Sunday evening back, and then we'll be even more focused on our Thursdays.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about restaurants.
Cheers.
And actually I thought I did a little bit of research, because I thought it was quite interesting to see which country of origin and which areas, restaurant groups that we all know and kind of enjoy, where are they choosing their wines from? And we've not been out for so long that I had to look it all up online, because I haven't been to a restaurant since, I don't know, South Africa in January, I think, possibly.
Yeah.
So everyone's familiar with the Côte Brasserie. Are they Brasserie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Côte. COTE.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love them. Really good. French.
Yeah.
Not
too expensive.
Very unsurprising that their house wines are from the Languedoc.
Yeah.
Which is where you definitely do get some really good value, excellent wines, if you know what you're looking for, because they're not the big mass-produced, bulk shipped, are they? They're probably more like local cooperatives who are producing relatively cheaply, but
and they are a relatively sort of good-sized chain, actually, that they can afford to go out there and have something possibly blended up to their specification, because they can do that if they've got the time and the will and the desire. They can think about the food that they're putting on people's plates, and largely in Côte it's steak. Mm-hmm. It's steak.
Very French.
Very French.
Poulet.
Yeah. And so, they probably want something that's going to sit comfortably with that. If they're good, then I don't know those Languedoc wines. I don't know them. But if they're good, they've got the volume to be able to blend something specific to Côte.
And we actually will have had them when we've been to Côte, but again, it was so long ago. We don't remember them being awful. So,
what about the Ivy? We've got the
Ivy.
The Ivy.
We're going by the Ivy in Wimbledon Village. Okay, so this is not the Ivy. I think it's actually called the Ivy Cafe. It's not even brasserie status, but it's lovely. And I was quite surprised actually that the Ivy's, but it's quite nice round full circle to the question we asked. The Ivy's house wines are both from Sicily, because they're really good value. And the red which is very widely produced in Sicily, is a grape called Nero d'Avola. Yeah. Which is quite a light but fruity style grape, isn't it? It's quite dark coloured. Yep. But probably does go really quite well with a lot of different food.
Bit of depth to it.
Yeah, a bit of depth, and also it's got a bit of tannin as well. So it's a bit more complicated than your really fruity, Aussie Shiraz. Yeah. To pick on someone. Yeah. And then choices.
And then we got another one. Was it Buenos Aires?
So Buenos Aires, the Argentinian steak restaurant, which there are chains of as well. Again, they obviously do have many Argentinian wines on their list, but their entry level house wines are from the centre of Spain. Excuse me. So the Macabeo is the white, and then Garnacha, a bit like our lovely Morenitos.
So here's the interesting thing, though. So there's three chains. There's three chains, and they're good quality chain restaurants, but they're all working with the European wines as their house wines. And now, why is that?
Because they're cheaper.
Why is that? Well, they are cheaper, but it's more consistently available. So imagine if you're shipping wine from South America. It takes a long time. The fastest from the southern hemisphere is South Africa, and that takes normally about sort of anything between 10 days and 3 weeks, depending whether it's a slow steam or a fast steam.
Yes, yeah.
Australia, 12 to 14 weeks. So if you suddenly run out of wine or you get your stocks all wrong, then you've got an awful long time to wait for your next shipment to come. So there is a bit of and we're also, we are Europeans at the end of the day.
No, it's
we
good.
are still Europeans.
We have to embrace it. And just a couple of others, actually. The Ask restaurant chain went Italy as well. So Sicily, Nero d'Avola is the red, and then the white is the Trebbiano, which is a grape that you do see quite a lot of in the house end of the scale.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And that's from Italy, but from the East Coast, from a region called Marche, or March, if you read it in an English accent. So really good, reliable, kind of cheaper end Trebbiano wine. So good, cool. And then the Hilton is also a Spanish central Spain option. So there's a bit of a theme there, and for a reason, because these are not tin pot restaurants who haven't got anyone who thinking about what the wines are gonna, what wines they want on the list.
Yeah. I will just touch on rosé just for a moment, in actual fact, because you can actually say, well, you've got your house red and your house white, and you've got your house rosé as well. Your house rosé is never going to be Provence. Never.
No.
Even though production costs in Provence are exactly the same as those in Languedoc or even sort of slightly lesser known areas in southern France, Provence carries a very, very hefty premium. It's just been in the game for a bit longer, and it really is going for it at the moment. But Languedoc are catching them up, and you're going to see loads and loads of rosés come on the market.
So general southern French rosés.
Yeah. But Provence, you will never find house wine as a Provence.
Shame.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Just to go back to these wines quickly, because I'm going to pop a map of Spain up, so we can just map of Spain to show you where they're from. So again, I have borrowed this map from the wonderful Wine Folly, who do some really fantastic kind of infographics and things, and with nice colours that make it easy to point out. Yeah. So
unless you colour
unless you're colourblind. Yes, it's true. Or watching in black and white. So these wines, the Why Not wines, are from an area which is kind of classified as La Tierra de Castilla, which is essentially
the great big yellow blob in the middle.
Yeah, central Spain. The big, the size of that yellow able, the La Manja, is probably equivalent to the size of Wales or something.
Yeah, anybody who's ever sort of travelled across Spain, not on foot, I doubt it on foot, but in a car, will know that Spain has sort of some colossal cities, but in between the cities, there's absolutely bugger all going on, nothing. So you can drive and see nothing except the bull, what's his name?
The Matador?
No, what's the bull? Oh God, somebody help me out here. The sherry, Osborne, is it Osborne? Osborne sherry that always has the big bull. When you drive across La Mancha in Spain, there are great big sort of enormous
billboards
of a great big black bull. I think it's Osborne. Sherry.
Okay.
But there is nothing else. Literally nothing else there. You have to travel for a long time.
Just some billboards for nobody to see, which is a bit ironic.
Yeah, and you're either crossing the plains where there's just nothing, or it will be vinified, viticultured. It will have vines on it.
The whole place is turned to wine.
It will have vines on it.
Yeah. So actually, just while we've got Spain up, it's quite interesting just to point out, because it's it's easy to forget where everything is. So a big area in the middle, La Mancha, a lot of big production there. Rioja region is up in the north. So for those of you watching in colour, is the little lighter orange area up in the north there. And Navarra is next to it, where you also get quite a lot of good value wines.
Yeah.
Ribera del Duero is one of the green areas along to the west.
Just next to it. Yeah.
So it's Spain is a massive country, but those are the kind of the main producing areas. But certainly in La Mancha was where you'll see a lot of the big volume stuff come from, isn't it?
So what else do we talk about house wines? So going back to Hannibal Brown and our house wines. So what do we consider our house wines? So
previous to these guys would have been the Blockhead combination from South Africa, which are two fantastic wines. They are. They're $9.99, so they're sneaking up towards £10.
They won't let you down, though.
From France, Les Boules, Blanc and Rouge.
Les Boules.
Two fantastic editions. The white is
There's nothing rude about that name at all.
No. The white is there wasn't. The white is a Sauvignon Blanc Vermentino Verdejo. No, not Verdejo. I think there's a third grape, but it's a blend. Really lovely, soft, delicious. And the red is your classic blend of Southern French grapes.
Grenache, Mourvedre.
All of the above.
Yeah. They're nice. They're good, solid wines. The other one that I just want to point out is Monsieur La Barbe.
Oh, yes.
Monsieur La Barbe, our lovely Merlot with a little bit of Mourvedre in it. That's also $9.99. That is a stalwart. They produce their wines very cleverly. Nice smoothness, really nice smoothness. And the other one, actually, another one, and this is a Chilean wine from Santiago.
Oh, yes.
Santiago Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
that actually
lovely.
we did taste at Simon Gilmore's virtual tasting. So Pinot Noir, Pinot Noir at this time of the year, and Hilary on the telephone will appreciate this, because Pinot Noir is just a lighter style. And when it's hot outside, I know it's not particularly warm today, but when it's hot outside, there's nothing better than having something light that, even if you want to chill it down a little bit. Santiago Pinot Noir is perfect for lovers of Pinot Noir who don't want to pay over the odds.
Yeah, and brilliant again at sort of £11 a bottle.
In fact, it's my wine of the moment, actually, after that tasting on Tuesday evening. Yeah.
So a really pertinent question here from Tim Carter, who's asking if the rain...
Did you say personal or pertinent?
Pertinent.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a really personal question.
Does the rain ever stop?
Does the rain mainly fall on the plain
Indeed.
of La Mancha? No, ironically. In the central Spain, the rain falls mainly off the plain. So don't go with that. It's a very, very dry, desert-like area.
Yeah.
But quite an entertaining question. I like that.
Yeah. Russell Clark is drinking that Santiago Pinot Noir right now. Well, I hope you're enjoying every last
choice. Good choice.
Glug.
So as we said, on Sunday we've got our Portuguese day where we're just going to talk a bit about Portugal in general. We have a lovely wine. The Ripanco is a really lovely fruity red.
For those of you who don't know where Portugal is, it's on the left-hand side of that map.
Yes, the grey bit on the Spain map.
The bit that the Spanish don't want to know about.
Again, a really nice wine. So do come and join us for that. Just a lovely, relaxed, last of the summer Sunday sessions for now.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday next week,
what we're doing next Thursday?
We have...
What are we doing next Thursday? Somebody tell us. What are we doing?
Oh, I've got a mind blank.
I've got a mind blank too.
It's going to be really good. It's Rioja.
Oh, yes.
Rioja.
It's Rioja revisited, because we were going to do Rioja a couple of weeks ago, but we chose to do Jordan Estate.
Yes, we've bumped it up. So we have our Reserva Rioja 2015 on the red front, which is the lovely Gavantha, which is just delicious. And then the white is a white Rioja. The Akemi White Rioja, which is the one, if you've seen it on our range, with Japanese symbols on the label, and it's really
a really interesting wine, traditionally made, really traditional. If you want to know more about White Rioja, tune in 6:00 Sunday evening.
And if you like the mushroom on toast canapé from way back in the early days when we did the Jordan Chardonnay, that's the one I recommend with it. So we can revisit it and refine it. Yeah. And if you bought truffle oil for that, you can reuse it for the first time since then.
Yeah. So coming up after that, we are delighted to announce that we do have Ernst Loosen of the Villa Wolf Winery in Germany joining us. He's going to be joining us at the end of July, on a Thursday. I can't remember which Thursday.
I think it's the 23rd.
Yeah.
There is a week in between.
Which is Greek night.
Greek night.
Which I understand there's some people who are actually getting their plates ready to smash.
Excellent.
So any unwanted crockery, just get it out there and ready for the Thursday the 16th.
Yeah, I've been smashing things all the way to today, so I'll try and save on the smashing. Greek night. We're going to have a couple of Greek wines, and we're also teaming back up with the lovely ladies from Russian Rebels, who also have a kind of Greek range of nibbly bits and pieces, and we've sorted a logistic solution. So if people are interested in buying them in advance, we certainly will be. Yeah. We can get them out to anyone who's local to sort of Surrey area in London.
Yeah. But true to say, they will be here. They will be talking to you live, just as we did with
so they're going to come
Kathy,
and join us and have a chat, which would be lovely.
Yeah.
And as definitely having Ernst Loosen join us is a real buzz, because he is highly sought after and a very respected winemaker worldwide.
Look him up, Ernst Loosen. His name Loosen. One of the best winemakers in the world.
The Villa Wolf range that we do are his basic entry-level wines, which gives you an idea. We will probably make a couple of others available if people want to step it up a notch. Yeah. But we'll just get them in for that event, probably. We won't be listing them. So watch this space. Yeah. So we're really looking forward to...
Last breath, your wine at the moment?
Oh, my last breath. I'm still loving our Adaras wines that we tasted. There are new organic wines we tasted right at the beginning of lockdown. There was the Luvia which has the rain on the label, which is the white, and then the red is an Aldea, which has got houses on the label, if you remember them. But they're two really fantastic Spanish wines.
Great value. I think they're $11.50.
Yeah.
Look them up. ADARAS.
And
Adaras.
they're totally organic and just really nicely produced, lovely clean wines.
And mine, I'm just going to stick to Santiago Pinot Noir all the way. And I did notice Tim Carter's just declared Bon Jovi.
Aha, yes,
Bon
Jovi's
Jovi.
rosé. You'll have to taste that on your own. But it's very good.
It's in. I will talk to you about Bon Jovi more. It is no gimmick. I tell you, it's a proper gold medal winner.
Serious bottle of rosé.
Yeah.
Great,
Okay,
well,
that's it.
Thank you everyone for joining us again. It's been brilliant. We love having you here and sharing our wines with you. So do come again.
Yeah.
Do invite anybody else along. They don't
Yep.
have to have the wines if they don't want, but they can come anyway.
And don't forget, if you have a birthday out there, another birthday out there, and you want to do a Zoom virtual tasting with us, give us a shout. Otherwise, DIY tasting kits all the way. Do your own thing.
Ooh, there's a new DIY tasting kit.
Ooh, there is.
This is hot off the press. You
There
might
is.
not even know this.
I'm not sure I do.
It's the mini pink DIY kit.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a 3-bottle rosé blind DIY tasting kit. So have a look on the website.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Fantastic.
Right. Cheers, everybody. Bye
Nice
from
to
us.
see you, everybody.
Bye from the big guy. Bye from Finn. And
Great to see you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and see you Sunday. Sunday for Portugal.
And a quick answer to Luke's question. They're wondering if they won Finn from Simon's answer. And
you can have Finn.
We're going
if
to
you
drop
like.
him off tomorrow, actually. Is that
Yeah. I'm sitting here with a very sore finger from another escapade with this dog. You can have him anytime.
Okay, see you Sunday, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks very much. That